Hey everybody, welcome to the Mystic Path. Oh, get back to where. Okay. Welcome to the Mystic Path. This video is going to be on shadow work and integration. I've been getting a lot of messages about this lately. We're also going to pull a few cards. These are the decks I plan on pulling from unless otherwise guided not to or to do something different. But these are the ones I felt compelled to pull out today again. Okay, so also disclaimer, our channel Cat Watson may join us. He joined us in the full moon reading. In the middle of it, he jumped up and got on the cards. He's been really active and getting involved. Today, he likes to do that when I do work. So I've been guided a lot in the last week or so to talk about this because it needs to be put out there. And because it's very important. And we have a lot of, as always, there's always going to be, everybody has different teachings. Everybody has different ideas of things. And it's not that one person's is wrong and one person's is right? But we do have to be careful and be discerning on the information we're taking in and the things we're taking in as fact. If it's not resonating with you, then it's probably not for you or it's not part of your path, right? So that's one thing we need to keep in mind. But there's this idea out there in regards to shadow work. And this is a human thing. So don't take it personally. I'm not trying to trigger anybody. Like, I've also been there myself, right? I've been doing this work for like 20 years almost. So I am pretty integrated at this point, but trust me, I still have my moments. We are all human, right? We all are not perfect, and that we're designed that way. So my intent is not to trigger anyone or to make you feel bad about yourself. It's just kind of to lay this out there so that the information can start settling and we can start growing and understanding, right, more. And anyway, okay, sorry. Also, I gave blood earlier today. Little shout out. The blood banks are really in need of blood because of what has happened in our country over the last couple of years. That sickness thing has really depleted the reserves, and it's made me a little spacey. So I apologize if I have trouble here and there getting my thoughts together. I think it's because I gave blood and I'm still replenishing. So anyway, we're going to start first with shadow work. What is shadow work, right? First, what is a shadow? We all have a shadow. Nobody is exempt. Anybody who tells you that they don't have a shadow or they've cleared their shadow is confused or has misinterpreted the messages from source energy. I talked a little bit about in the full moon video about how like Earth is a school in duality, right? And these things work in symbiotic partnership. You cannot have light without shadow, right? You cannot have shadows without the light, because the light is what casts down and creates the shadows, right? So we're never as humans gonna live in an environment or be ourselves all light or all dark. Never gonna happen, okay? The point of the human experience and the reason we come to the school of Earth is to suffer the contrast of the duality, right? We would not know what happiness was if sadness did not exist. We would not know peace if it weren't for anger and destruction. I could go on all day. You should get the picture though. Like, we would not know what joy was if we did not know despair. So all of these emotions, feelings, concepts exist symbiotically. They work together, right? Just like I said, there is no shadow without light. There is no light without dark, right? Because you can't just, that's just not how it works. So same with us as humans. We will never purge our shadow. I've noticed online there's this I've noticed this toxic thought process of the point is to clear your shadow and clean yourself of shadow and to be a perfect person that has no flaws. And yes, would that be nice and wonderful if all humans were perfect? Yes. But is that realistic? No. If you've ever experienced anything in humanity, everyone is different. There are stubborn people. There are easygoing people. There are angry people. There are happy people, right? We are never going to have a time on Earth with this many, 30 billion human beings that everyone is on the same page and just harmonious and there's no shadow anymore. That's just not realistic, and it's never going to happen because the whole point of the school of Earth is to suffer and understand the contrast of light and dark, duality, good and bad, right? These are all human concepts, and our soul comes here to learn them because you can't learn them when you're just in your energy form, because everywhere else duality isn't really a thing in other dimensions, right? So we come here to learn some pretty serious lessons, and we have to, the point of doing shadow work is not to scrub your soul clean of any shadow. The point of doing shadow work is to bring your shadow up, see it, acknowledge it, try to understand it, and accept that is part of who you are, and love yourself anyway, right? So, I'll just use myself as an example. I was raised in a very criticizing, critical, pessimistic family. There was a lot of depression. You guys know I've talked on this channel before that I had severe depression for many, many years in my teens and 20s. There is a lot of rage and anger in my family line. And so these are all things that growing up around them, first of all, when you're a kid, we all don't really know, right? We don't know. It's like, we just think this is how everybody's home is. And first I want to say, I did not have it bad. There are people that have had it way worse than I. I had a very supportive, loving family. We all just are human and had issues, right? Some of us had issues with anxiety, some with rage, some with depression, right? So I don't want anyone to misunderstand that I had this horribly abusive childhood, because I did not. I just was in a family whose shadows were super low vibration stuff, right? And so for a long time, those things overwhelmed me. And then I would get deep in depression, and I would beat myself up for it too, because I was also raised in a family that was very critical. It was always you could do better. You can fix that. There's one mistake, fix it. You can do better than that. You can, right? So you learn when you learn as a child from the adults around you to criticize, and you start criticizing yourself, right? So I would have these bouts of anger or depression. I had a lot of despair and depression and sadness, and I didn't really understand why. And then I would beat myself up for it, right? Which would then just put me into a shame spiral, which would then bring me deeper and deeper and lower and lower. And, the point of our shadow sometimes is to bring us so low that we surrender, because the healing cannot start until you can surrender, right? So I don't want to get too far back into my healing journey, because we'd be here for like 3 hours, because I've got so many stories over 20 some years. So, but the reason I bring that up is because I didn't really start healing and growing and ascending until I made friends with my shadow, until I accepted that I am a pessimistic, I am depressed, I sometimes am angry, right? And it's almost a little out of body for me even to talk about this and describe it to you guys, because it's been about 15 years since I made friends with my shadow, and I started working with my shadow and integrating it into my life. And that's when I really started growing, healing, and ascending. And now I have not been in any of those shadow aspects of depression, anger, despair, pessimism in a while. And the reason is because I do my work and I've accepted it and I've made friends with it and I've integrated it into me, right? So now, and here's an example. Like, I love myself despite my shadow. Like, I have depression, but I still love myself. I sometimes can be pessimistic, but I accept that and I love myself. And once you get to that place that you stop resisting or fighting yourself, right? Like, I used to get really angry at myself. I'd start to get these waves of sadness and despair from the depression. And instead of like being kind and saying, and like taking a bath and saying to yourself, like, why, what is going on? Why are you feeling so sad? Why are you feeling this way? Honestly, I would say things like, what is wrong with you? You're such a bad person. You can't even have a happy day. What a piece of shit. You know what I mean? And so then that would just make things worse and compound the problem, because I was like resisting accepting who I was. Because like it or not, these are shadow aspects my soul chose to work on here in the School of Earth. So I came here with a soul contract that had those things in it. So I chose those things. So then to turn around and beat myself up and yell at myself and criticize myself and call myself names, right? That would just further compound the problem. And then I'd just end up lower and lower and lower and lower. And then I'd be in this place where I couldn't get out of bed. I didn't want to socialize with anyone. I didn't want to talk to anyone, because I was in such despair that I was just like, I'm such a bad person. Like, nobody loves me, no, right? And again, even talking about this with you guys, I feel like dissociated from it. And I think that's because I've done so much work and healed so much of it. And, you know, I've talked before on this channel, I've had years of therapy to kind of learn the tools. And that was one of the things. I got to this place where I realized I'm not just going to wake up tomorrow and not be depressed, right? Depression is part of who I am. So I can either learn to work within it and integrate it, or fight it and have these like up and down, high and lows throughout my life, which were not enjoyable. And any of you that have ever experienced that know it's not enjoyable, right? So, okay, I just realized like you guys are just staring at my hands because I'm not doing cards yet. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry, we will start to pull cards here in a minute. I'm going to get on with it, okay? But the point I'm trying to make here is I got this vision the other day when I was meditating with my guides. This is how, you know, they communicate with me to give me messages for the collective or for myself or whatever. And basically one of the messages that kept coming through was humans have this idea that like, I'm gonna set aside time once a month or once a day or once a week or whatever it is. And then I'm going to sit and heal my shadow during that time. And I'm going to sit down and I'm going to focus on healing, let's just say anger is the example. And then the next day when I wake up, because I did all this healing around anger, I'm just not ever going to be angry again. Okay? I mean, I laugh. I don't mean to laugh. But I laugh because that's absurd, right? It sounds ridiculous. That's like people who are like, I went to therapy once and now I'm fine. Like, that's not how it works, right? So the message they really wanted me to put out was that shadow work needs to be integrated into our life. Shadow work should be like breathing. Okay? And the reason I'm talking about that now is because I know I stopped my story, but I'm going to go back to my story now. One of the reasons why I have not had a depressive episode in over 5 years is because I made friends with my depression. I did all I could to gather information. I did research. I started therapy and learning about depression. I didn't really know as much as I thought I knew. I just knew how it made me feel, right? And what it was doing to my life. But I didn't really know. They've been studying depression for hundreds of years now, right? And lots of other, whatever your issue is, anxiety, anger, whatever it is. Just remember, humans are very intelligent. And some humans are very amazing and move society forward with great ideas and great inventions, right? Think about people like Einstein, Steve Jobs, Maya Angelou, in all aspects of the spectrum, from art to science to psychology to whatever it is, there are humans that rise to the top and help us grow and help us understand, right? So we need to use all of that to our advantage, right? Humans have been around now for quite a while. We're in 2022, okay? We have thousands of years now of like historical records of learning, of experiments, trial and error, whatever it is. So that is where your first step needs to be. Whatever shadow aspect you're trying to work on, And I do also want to mention that shadow aspects aren't just like anger, hate, all these low, people have a tendency to think that it's just all these low vibration things like greed. Well, I hate to tell you, too much positivity can be low vibration, and that can be a shadow aspect, right? Getting annoyed at the way somebody chews, that can be a shadow aspect of you, right? And we just need to start owning these things and integrating them and working through them so that these shadow aspects don't trigger us when we're out in the world enjoying our lives. Because I can promise you, life gets so much better and enjoyable when you're doing the work and you don't get triggered all the time by things, and you can step back and observe, like, okay, what's happening in this situation? Why am I feeling whatever it is? Why am I feeling sad? Why am I feeling anxious? Why am I feeling euphoric? Sometimes humans will escape into positivity or happiness so that they don't have to deal with any of that stuff. And, I was talking about in the full moon video, like, that is not going to work out for you. That's not going to work out for anybody. The only way out is through. And if we're shoving things down, repressing things, running away from things, eventually they catch up to you in the form of like a breakdown. Because our human psyche can only take so much before it's like, I'm completely overwhelmed. I'm shutting down now. I can't deal. Right? And some people's breakdowns are bigger than others. Some people have like crazy, violent, burning things down, kicking things, punching other people, breakdowns. Some other people have sobbing, I am in the fetal position, I can't get out of bed, breakdowns, right? Again, there's no right or wrong. There's 30 billion humans. We all have a different experience. We're all going to have different experiences. But the key is to get to a place where we can step outside of our trigger, our emotion, into observer mode. Judgment is another thing in my family that is a shadow aspect that needs to be dealt with, right? Judgment can be good though, because sometimes making judgments have helped me be successful in my business. Judging people in meetings based on my gut feeling and my intuition has helped me. But it can also be detrimental, right? Because if I become over judgmental to the people around me, then it's like I start to not like the people around me, and it's not for any other reason than in my own head I've created all these like, well, I'm judging them for this and this and this, and that makes them not a good person, and that makes me not want to be around them. And I'm just using these things as examples because we as humans do this. And I've been guilty of this in the past, like staying away from people whose shadow is showing, right? Like if you have a friend or somebody in your realm who doesn't really work on themselves, and we'll just use anger as an example. And every time you're around them, they're angry, and they're like, you go to dinner and they're angry at the waiter, and they're angry that the food is not right, and they're angry, right? I, in the past, have been guilty of being like, I'm just not going to be around you because your shadow's showing, and I'm not that angry, so I don't want to be around that much anger. But the thing is, if I'm healthy and whole and strong in myself, then that anger won't affect me. And if I can step into observer mode, I can see, oh, sadly, this person is struggling with a shadow aspect of themselves, and they have not yet to get it under control. So they're still reacting in their triggers. And because I can step out into observer mode, I'm not reacting from my triggers, right? There was a time in my life where an angry person triggered me because there were people in my family with anger issues. So when I was around somebody that was angry, it would start to trigger me. And because I didn't know how to deal with the emotions that were coming up, I would just say, their shadow's showing. I'm not going to hang out with them anymore. But that's not a viable solution, right? Because that person I may not hang out with anymore, but in a week I may be in a work situation where somebody I'm dealing with, a client or somebody, gets angry. So I have to be able to get my triggers under control because there are going to be angry people everywhere, right? Or whatever it is, judgment, anxious. Some people get triggered by people pleasers. Some people please as a way of dealing with their triggers, right? So now once you get integrated, so the messages I've been getting are, we need to stop this whole like, I'm going to heal this thing and then it's done. Because that's not how it works. I will always struggle with depression and pessimism and judgment. These are things in my soul contract that I came here to learn about. So there will always be things in my life that come up around those topics. And the difference is, because I go to therapy, because I do my healing work, because I read and research and learn the tools to cope with these things, now I'm in a position where I hardly get triggered at all. But keep in mind, I understand what it's like to be triggered, right? I've been doing this for about 20 years. Let me tell you, 10 years ago, I wasn't doing YouTube videos. And the reason why I wasn't doing YouTube videos was because I was still reacting in my triggers, right? So it takes practice. It takes years and years of practice to get to a place that you can have. Now I have compassion. And instead of that whole, your shadow showing, I'm just not going to be around you, I try my best to give compassion and say to myself, okay, this person is struggling with a shadow aspect of themselves. This potentially could trigger me, but I'm aware of it. So I'm going to start moving forward with that awareness that I just need to be on top of myself. I need to stay in observer mode when I'm around this person while they're dealing with this issue. Because the point of connection with other humans is not to conditionally love. And that's what's been happening with humans for a very long time. It's like, and I'm guilty of it. That old me was like, meh, your shadow showing. I can't love somebody whose shadow showing this much because it's a danger to me, right? That's what my fight or flight would tell me. This person is angry. That can be a danger to me because that triggers me. So I'm just not going to be around this person anymore. I'm not going to love this person because they're not doing things the way I want them to do them, right? That's conditional love. The goal of doing work and growth is to be able to accept and love unconditionally yourself and others, okay? The idea is that we get to a place that we're healed enough to understand our shadow side and know that, like, I know depression is something that will always come up for me. Like with the things going on in the world right now with Ukraine and Russia, seeing some of these images and things out there, that stuff brings me sadness. I now know that stuff has the potential to trigger me into a depressive episode. So because now I've done years of therapy and years of work around depression, I now know there's like a 10-step process. I don't just go to bed one night and wake up the next day depressed. There are signs. There are 10 signs, which years of work, I will do a separate video on depression one of these days to kind of help better explain. But there, over the years and going to therapy, I've now identified there's like a 10-step process to me ending up so depressed I can't get out of bed. Okay? And so now I'm aware of those steps. So I can, when I start to feel that first or second step, and sometimes it takes me to like step 3 or 4 to where I catch myself and then I'm like, whoa, you're on step 4, you're heading towards a depressive episode. And then I use the tools in my toolbox. I get energy healing. I clear my energy. I go to therapy. I address whatever the issue is. Like, for example, if these images with what's happening in the world right now start to slide me down those steps, I know one of my tools is I will watch and consume less of that information so that I don't trigger the further steps that end me up in bed, right? And then there are other things I do to combat my depression, like exercise, self-care. There's lots of things. So now I have these tools. So when those triggers start coming up and when those things start happening to me, I deal with it immediately before it gets too far. That's what I mean when I'm talking about integrating, okay? We need to get to a place as humans where on a daily basis, we can slide in and out of observer mode and we can recognize in any instance, I just felt it. I just felt that trigger. And then we slowly pause, right? Take a pause, take a deep breath, and then start sliding into observer mode. Because when you're in observer mode, you're not going to react as quickly to those triggers, right? You're going to stop, you're going to think things through, and you're going to be like, okay, what can I do in this moment to deal with whatever this trigger is? Or, like I said, one of mine is judgment. I caught myself the other day judging somebody I didn't even know. And as I caught myself doing it, I didn't, because the old me would have immediately like, you're such a piece of shit. Like, you don't even know this person, right? But I kind of twist that negative self-talk into something that's more neutral and positive. I'll say things to myself like, okay, you are making wild assumptions about somebody you don't even know. And what does that do for you? What does judging this other person do for you? What are you getting out of it? Why are you doing it? Right? And then I start to like analyze and evaluate, what am I getting out of it? Usually, not always, but usually what I find is the reason I start judging somebody is because they have a quality that I have about myself that I am not 100% in love with, right? So let's say anger. So I may see somebody getting angry or acting a certain way or whatever, and I may start judging that person because that's safer than me having to face the fact that, ooh, I used to have that quality. I used to act like that. Or I act like that now sometimes, right? So that's what I'm talking about. When I talk about integrating, we need to shift our thinking in humanity of like, I'm going to sit down and heal something and then it's fixed. I'm going to go to the doctor and get a pill and then I'm fixed. I'm going to go to, you get what I'm trying to say. We need to start embracing the idea that as we're living our life, in our daily life, we are integrating. We are dealing with what comes up in the moment, right? And trying to clear it out and trying to analyze and ask ourselves the hard questions. And trust me, you guys, I know shadow work is not easy. And sometimes it can downright suck. But I promise you, when you get 10, 15, 20 years into it, even 5 years into it, right? Like, I have a friend who has just kind of started this process, and she said to me recently, oh my God, shadow work sucks. And I kind of chuckled because I was like, yeah, it does. I get it. It totally does. However, I said, you've been in therapy now for a year, right? Yes. I'm like, you feel better now than you felt better last year at this time, right? She's like, yes, absolutely. And I said, right. So imagine in next year at this time how much better you're going to feel. And the year after that, and the year after that. That's why we have to keep doing it. I was like, I know it's hard, and I know sometimes it feels like we go 2 steps forward, a step back, or we go 5 steps forward, 3 steps back, right? But that is humanity. That is the human experience. That is the process. So we just have to kind of like accept it and go with the flow of that process. And when you start to go with the flow of the process of integrating both our light and our shadow, because, right, the yin and the yang, you can't have one overpowering the other or vice versa. It'll cause imbalance and issue in your life. Okay? So I'm going to shut up now because I've been, going on for 30 minutes. Let's pull a few cards. Please like, share, and subscribe. If this topic has helped you, if my readings help you, please comment below. Please share with your friends. I am trying to grow. I'm going to try to grow this year and get more serious about really putting up videos and stuff on here. And I promise I will show my face more. I just, today, like I said, I gave blood. I worked out before I gave blood, so I'm not like in the cutest situation. So today was going to be a non-camera day. But I promise you'll be seeing more of me, and we're going to be doing more of these like topic videos that aren't so much just about like pulling cards and stuff, right? So, really quickly, this is the healing deck. I love this deck. Whispers of Healing. Let's just, is there anything in this deck that will help us, Spirit, will help us to understand and integrate our shadow work? Aha. All 3, huh? Okay. So, oh yeah, well, these all make sense. Okay. Answers within. 19. Ruminate. 18. And listen to your body, which is 27. Okay, we're going to read these cards. These all make sense to me as far as what can help us to integrate our shadow work. Listen to your body. Go within. Ruminate. I feel like this ruminate card comes with a disclaimer, though, to not over-ruminate, but some analysis is good. One more thing before I read these cards. I want to bring this up. I just finished reading this book, the Will Smith autobiography. It is, I read a lot. I have been a reader since I was like, I don't even know, 8 years old. I read a lot, and this is one of the best autobiographies I have ever read. It was so good. It's like 600 pages. I read it in like 9 days. I could not put it down. And the reason I wanted to bring it out in this video is because this is a wonderful, his journey is a wonderful journey on integrating your shadow and shadow work. And he talks a lot in here about his life experience, and he also works with an energy healer. He talks a lot about how it wasn't until like in his 40s that he started really recognizing his shadow and understanding that there were parts of his shadow that were just very destructive in his life, even though it didn't appear that way to the rest of us, because he was like Will Smith, famous, right? So I just wanted to recommend this book to any of you. If you are having trouble understanding how to do shadow work or how to integrate your shadow work, reading his journey is very helpful, because he is very eloquent in explaining his process of growth, ascension, and integration. So I did not want to forget this, very important. And now we will go back to the cards, right? And the reason it made me think of it was because I was about to say this ruminate card comes with a warning, right? And what I heard in my mind, because I said some analysis is good. Well, I heard in my mind a phrase from this book that Will Smith said he learned from Quincy Jones, which was paralysis by analysis, which means a lot of people overthink things to the point that it paralyzes them and keeps them stuck. It keeps them from birthing creative ideas. It keeps them from creating projects that they think could be successful because they get stuck in the analysis stage. And so he is always saying throughout this book, paralysis by analysis. Analysis can be wonderful, but don't let it paralyze you, because it can paralyze you into being stuck. So thank you, Spirit, for tying that all together, because I did not want to forget to bring up that book. Excellent. I recommend it. Excellent, excellent. Okay, let's start with 18, ruminate. Okay. I never know where to, okay. Take note of how you take on the energy around you. Do you tend to immerse yourself in unconstructive energy? Are you taking responsibility for a situation that really has nothing to do with you? Do you hold yourself in reproach for circumstances you have no control over? This might include feeling somehow responsible for inclement weather or someone else's bad mood. It makes no sense, yet you feel you played a role in it. Yeah, I just want to interject here. We all do this as humans. Not everything is about us. And we tend to make a lot of things that aren't about us. We tend to internalize them and make them personal. And this card is saying when you're doing your shadow work, do not get confused on what issues are yours and what issues are not yours, and what things are about you and what things aren't about you, right? Our ego can really lead us astray and convince us that everything's about us, but that's not the case. Okay, so, are you spending an unwarranted amount of time thinking about other people's situations? Self-examination is one way of identifying whether you are engaged in negative thinking. Negative thinking can manifest in harmful self-talk or viewing yourself disapprovingly. You may do this without being aware of it. It can be done through self-deprecating humor that invites others to laugh at your expense. You may put others above you. You might give a place, an opportunity, or something you rightfully earned to someone else. You may apologize constantly, which lowers your energy. It may seem that you are ashamed of your presence in certain situations. You might be addicted to negative situations or participate in gossip. Be honest as you reflect on where you may be taking on negative energy. Decide to make changes for the better. A flautist plays as her thoughts encircle her. This card depicts the thoughts and situations that are crowding your psyche. The people reflect the drama you have allowed yourself to become absorbed in. The green above and behind the flautist's head denotes an ability to heal your thoughts. The birds, stars, and flowers portray growth, healing, love, blessings, and connection to self. If you find you are overthinking something, find a distraction to help you move forward. Music is a wonderful way to quiet your mind. It's a good one. All right, 19, answers within. Answers within. Don't look externally for the source of your problems. When you feel triggered or distressed, look within. You may have been conditioned to place blame on others or on your circumstances. Realize there is no one against you. No one is looking to hurt you. Dissect what is going on for you. What is it that you are really feeling? Break out of limiting patterns. As you overcome the cause, you will diminish the effects. That's kind of what I was saying earlier about as you start to identify, accept, and love your shadow, you get triggered less and less. Create a space each day where you can take an emotional inventory. Find a place to sit quietly and relax your mind. Ask yourself questions. Take note of any new insights that emerge during this process. Examining yourself and your role in a situation will help you become more self-aware. Soul searching and listening to a trusted friend can lead you to your best answer. You will recognize the right answer for you as it will feel uplifting. You might be able to see a positive solution for all involved. You will feel inspired or comforted as you listen to your own wisdom. A fairy rides in a rose high above a landscape. She holds a candle that represents the four main archangels, Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and Uriel. The candle reflects the light glowing in your soul. Green is connected to health, wellness, and happiness. The sweet smell of the rose induces a feeling of calm. The fairy's beautiful wings lend emphasis to the freedom of your soul. You can rise above any situation and transform and heal as you do. All things are constantly moving, developing, and changing. Trust the cycle of change you are currently in as you emerge with more awareness. Okay, 27. Listen to your body. Your body is continually communicating with you. It lets you know when you are hungry or tired. Your body uses the cells to pass information to you. Are you listening? Focus your attention on your body for several minutes now. Take notice of what is going on within it. Are your shoulders relaxed or tight? Does your stomach feel at ease? What else are you feeling? Take care of whatever you are sensing in your body, just as you would take care of a beloved friend. If you need to breathe deeply, eat something, take a momentary break, or anything else, please do so now. You may have developed a habit of allowing everything else to take precedence over your needs. Doing so disconnects you from your body. A dragon sits on the back of a blue-haired maiden as if whispering in her ear. The dragon signifies success in your endeavors. It brings messages of luck, abundance, self-confidence, and perseverance. It asks you to remain patient, to step back, and to observe what your body is conveying to you. A star shoots across the sky, reminding you that magic is merely a wish away. Be more loving to yourself by listening to what your body is telling you. This is essential. The charm dangling from the maiden's hand activates innate knowledge. The blue hues remind you to be gentle, calm, and peaceful as you strengthen your connection with your body. Okay, now I just want to say really quickly, everybody's different, but for me, what really helped me understand and hear the messages from my body was yoga. I started yoga when I was like probably 24 maybe. I'm now 46. I still do yoga. It makes me feel amazing. It has kept me very healthy in both my energetic and physical body and mental body. Yoga helped me a lot with depression. So I just wanted to point that out. If any of you are struggling and you haven't really found anything yet that helps you understand and make connection with your body, I just wanted to suggest yoga. It has been great for me. I know it's not for everybody, so take it if it resonates. And then really quick, we're going to pull one of these crystal cards, or maybe more than one. We'll see. These are new, so they're a little stiff. What crystal or crystals will help us integrate our shadow? Another? One more. Okay. Yeah, okay. So, the cards we got. Full of Riches, Citrine. And Step Up to Sovereignty, Lapis Lazuli. It's a real good one for your throat chakra here. So these are two crystals that are very supportive in integrating your shadow. Okay, let us read about them quickly. And then we're going to pull one art oracle for fun. Citrine. Okay, we're going to start with Citrine. Citrine has no patience for navel gazing and narcissism. There is a whole world out there. Citrine admonishes, guides your attention to the abundance around you. Citrine reminds us to tune outward, watching as you haltingly move your gaze from your own troubles to the tiny leaves unfurling on the oak tree's branches. Citrine knows it can be tough to turn your ear to the whisper of crow's wings cutting the afternoon stillness when you're used to listening to your own internal monologues and self-deprecating harangues. But Citrine is persistent in pushing you beyond yourself, nodding sagely as you slowly slip out of self-absorption and into the stillness of contentment. The world is full of riches, Citrine affirms, and in that abundance you will find joy. Well, that's great. All right, and I have a piece of citrine right here. Okay. Also, we have a Lapis Lazuli. Okay, so these are both good crystals here for supporting, integrating our shadow. Let's read Lapis Lazuli. Sovereignty has always been about relationships. Lapis Lazuli reminds pharaohs and empresses that they ruled in accordance with the spiraling heavens and the turnings of time. Lapis will lengthen your spine and help you find your voice, and she expects your actions to match your regal bearing. Lapis reminds you that no matter who you are a caretaker of yourself, of those around you, and of the earth. You are sovereign in connection with the realm of spirit. Lapis Lazuli will be your rod and your mantle, but only you can find the inner fortitude to rise to the relationships she helps you embody. Woo! These are good. Getting chills. All right, and then just for fun, we're going to pull one of these art oracles. This was a gift from a friend of mine. I love these cards so far. These are like basically all of the creative geniuses I studied in art school. And there's a card for each one of them, and then it kind of gives you guidance, right? So let us see what artist wants to give us guidance. Okay, a couple more shuffles they're asking for. What artist wants to give us guidance on integrating our shadow? These are all, oh, that was quick. And we got two. Yes, both, they say take both. Andy Warhol and Georgie O'Keeffe, two of my faves. Okay, so Andy Warhol says, eat dessert before dinner. Give your 15 minutes some time. Wanting can be better than having. And then good old Georgia O'Keeffe. She is one of my favorites. One of the first women to break out in the artistic world. Nature can keep a secret. Keep Freud guessing. You can't run away from yourself, but running away from others can be quite productive. Great. I'm going to leave it here. I feel like, yeah, we're at 51 minutes. This is longer than I meant to go, but there was a lot to say. Like I said before, please like, share, and subscribe. I'm trying to grow the channel. Please comment below if these messages help you. It really helps me to know, and it kind of encourages me to keep putting messages out there. If I know that they're actually helping. So have a wonderful rest of your day, rest of your night, week, weekend, whatever it is for you. I am grateful. Thank you for watching. And we'll see you next time.